glued to their screens for 10 nights.
I'm never gonna fly your saucer. Not ever.
So what do I hope people will take away from the show? Well, of course, I hope they'll be thrilled, delighted, scared, moved. All the things that you are when you invest 20 hours of your life in a story.
And when your story is about aliens, anything is possible.
The thing that always grabbed me about science fiction is, it frees the imagination to journey anywhere it can imagine itself. It doesn't have boundaries, it doesn't fence you in, it really liberates you.
But the tale Les was beginning to craft had to start somewhere. And that was over the skies of 1944 Germany.
It's the story of alien abduction in the second half of the 20th century. It starts with the Foo Fighters, the lights in the sky that a lot of pilots saw over Germany during the Second World War, through my own ideas about what might have happened at Roswell.
Well, it even says in the damn paper it was a flying saucer. I mean, what is it that you don't want me discussing?
Through the UFO flying saucer sightings of the 50s and the abduction stories of the 60s and 70s on up to the present day.
But Les felt that the key to telling an epic tale about aliens would be to center his story on the human element.
We wanted to tell a very human story, and I was interested in all the things that people are taken by. They're taken by love.
And once you go alien, you never go back.
They're taken by greed. They're taken by power.
Either you give me exactly what I want, or I'll go public with this. I'll bring your flying saucer crashing down on your head, Dad.
Certainly in our show, they are taken by aliens as well, but that's really only one aspect of the story.
Les decided the best way to illustrate his character's emotions and views towards alien abduction was through 3 different families.
What's great is that it takes the story over 3 generations with the Keyes family, the Clark family, and the Crawford family, and their interaction with aliens from another planet.
Well, the Keyes, of course, are, they fight back.
If they come for me again, I'm not going without a fight. And if that lands me in some hospital room screaming, then that's what it does.
The Clark family whose lives have also been touched by the aliens, but in a very different way.
I've met them too. Do you think they'll be coming back soon?
Our time and their time is not the same time.
The Crawford family, which is a family involved with the government military investigation, they are extremely self-serving lot.
They're the 3 sides to the alien abduction story.
Whatever they did to me, killed all the members of my crew.
They really are ordinary people that extraordinary things have happened to.
This is like, Dynasty with aliens.
I really wouldn't know how to tell any story, and certainly I wouldn't know how to tell a story this epic without having it be really about family.
You think about me once in a while. I love you, Mom.
Besides family, what makes Taken so compelling and believable is that it incorporates actual historical events.
One of the things I think that makes this really special is the mix of fact and fiction. Les was able to incorporate everything from crop circles to the Lubbock Lights to the Roswell crash to the Cuban Missile Crisis to historical events and historical people, and I think that's what sort of gave it the sense of realism and truth to it.
Make it real and make it documentary-like, guys. Really. Guns, gut.
My approach in telling the whole story was, this all really happened, and it happened while you were busy watching something else.
The idea that really intrigued me was when I was reading the first script, and you have, the 2 explanations of what happened in Roswell, which was it was a weather balloon on the one hand, or it was a flying saucer on the other. And what happens in our story is the flying saucer hits a weather balloon.
Are you the people we talked to about flying saucers? Yeah, there's someone around here can help you if you just go down the hall.
Because my boys and I, we have some information.
Down the hall.
We know where one crashed.
To help make sure the story he was telling was as believable as possible, Les worked closely with a variety of experts.
I found that people who like science fiction know a lot about science. And I think in any story where you're asking people to believe in something that's made up, everything else about your story has to be as real as possible. So the more real or rooted in reality that your science can be, the more easily everybody will go with the liberties you're taking when you start to have fun with it.
She can manipulate time.
We use all kinds of technical advisors whenever we feel it's appropriate. We do a birthing scene, we'll have a medical technical advisor. We try and be as authentic as we possibly can. We've looked for surgical information, we've looked for cellular mapping information from experts at universities in the United States and here in Canada.
John Underkoffer, who was our science advisor, who worked with Stephen on Minority Report, has been, very instrumental in tracking for us what was going on at, from 1947 to the present.
And because Taken involves an elaborate government cover-up, the Army would play a big role in the story. This meant authenticity for all military scenes would be essential.
Don't forget to signal to your rear man. Don't look anywhere without looking with your weapon. Good. Bring it back.
We have a gentleman, Ron Blecker, who's ex-U.S. Army, who I first met up here doing Dark Angel, who is also just a military history buff. Has been very dedicated to the authenticity from the military standpoint.
Combining the military aspect of this production with the alien aspect of this production is incredibly difficult. I have to keep in mind what the writers, producers, and directors want to achieve with their production and still try and keep the military aspect as true as possible.
Okay, here we go. Quiet. Let's roll, please.
Having completed the scripts for Taken, it was now time to put the vision on film. Screenwriter Les Boheme had all 10 episodes under his belt, and he had written them at an unprecedented pace. But now, a lot more people were about to get a lot more busy because shooting was about to begin.
This show has been really challenging because it has every element of filmmaking involved in it.
Virtually every episode of Taken would take place in a different time period, from World War II to the present day.
Every one of the 2-hour movies was a distinct period that had to be started all over again in terms of wardrobe, cars, the houses that we could use, the buildings we could use.
It takes a lot of research from all the department heads to understand what the look of the time was, and then it takes a lot of coordination among the first ADs and the rest of the production departments in order to figure out a schedule that allows us to deal with, the 1983 look on one day and then the 1996 look on the next day.
The Taken production had close to 200 shooting locations, replicating everywhere from Area 51 in the 40s to 1970s Alaska to modern-day Seattle. However, the producers decided that the best place to recreate 50 years of American history wasn't in America at all. It was in Vancouver, Canada. For this, the producers hired two of the best location managers in the business, Greg Jackson